Hi, so you are embroidering with Cody and Pete today. So in a previous video, we did a little run through of the setup for embroidery, but in this video, we're going to go a little more detail. So a little more step by step in selecting our design, going over a few of the editing features and how to line it up where we want to line it up in our hoop. So today we're working with the midi hoop. So this is the smallest hoop that Bernina has with the easy ratchet system. So it makes it super easy to release your design and to tighten your design. So if you have any arthritis or any problems using the smaller screws on some of the other hoops, this type of style hoop makes it super easy to close and open. So we've already got our module on our machine. But before we put the hoop on, just like in the other video, we want to go and select our design first. So when we first turn our machine and go to the embroidery part of the machine, we'll see this is our home screen. So here is where our built-in fonts are, our built-in designs with a little butterfly is, and there are multiple different folders with multiple different designs in them. And then the third folder are our personal designs. These are designs that we would have saved on the machine, that we may have altered or we may have brought over from a USB stick. Some of your, like your 790s and your 780s and your 880s, you'll have an additional folder. Those folders are decorative stitches from our sewing side that we can then embroider out, including buttonholes. The 590 and the 570 can do that as well. But let's go and select a design. So we'll go here, and let's go to folder number 1, and let's choose design number 3. So here we've got the design on the screen, and anytime you pull up a design on a Bernina machine, it's going to pull it up and show it to you in the hoop that best fits that design. Doesn't mean that's the hoop you have to use, it's just that's the hoop that best fits this particular design. And the beauty of Bernina, opposed to many other brands, is this white box, that's the parameters of the hoop that it selects. So right now it's select the medium hoop, but like as I said in the beginning, we're going to be using our midi hoop. So we can go and select and say, okay, I'm going to use the midi hoop just so I know my parameters and everywhere that I can work and move my design. But once we put the hoop on, it would then have recognized that we did put the midi hoop on. So something else we can see, and hopefully you can see in the video, is right here. It has a little red exclamation point. So that's telling us that we need to make sure we tell the machine that we did put the correct foot on. So just by clicking that, and let's click the top left hand, number 26 foot, and then you notice the exclamation point went away. So now we're basically ready to start moving forward. So we want to make this design a little bit bigger. So just like on the sewing side, we have this little I, the little lowercase I icon. So if we click it, you have a number of extra features you can choose from. So here we want to make the design a little bit bigger. So we can come here, which is on the 770 is the first column, second button, with a little arrow and an arrow. With a box and a smaller box inside of it with an arrow going from corner to corner. This is how we can make our design bigger. So we can use our stitch width and our stitch length knobs to increase or decrease the design size. So right now, it's going to make it bigger or smaller proportionally. So if I turn either one clockwise, the design will get bigger, and you'll see both of those numbers increase. And if we turn it counterclockwise, it will then make it smaller. But if you had a design that you just wanted to make wider or just taller, you would then want to select this middle button, this little chain that has a white line around it. Once you select that button, the white line around that button will then go away, and then these buttons will work independently. So our stitch width knob will then make our design just wider, and our stitch length knob will just make our design taller and of course shorter. So it won't change the size proportionally. This is great if you're trying to do a name and you've got a really long name, and so you can only fit it in a particular size area, but you want to make it appear bigger, you can then just increase the height. But we just want to leave it the exact same size that it was when we pulled it up, so we'll hit the clear button and it'll clear all that back. And we have a few other features such as mirror image. You can delete the design, you can make a copy of it, and of course you can move the design around from the screen. When you step up to like the 500, the 590, the 700, the 790, or like the 880, you can do a lot more in this screen, and you'll see that in later videos. So what we're going to do now, we're going to exit out of this screen. So in order to do the next step, we need to go one more step. We need to go a little bit further into our embroidery process. So right now, if I were to put the hoop on and move the design around, you see it just moves on the screen. We need to reposition the design so it'll line up with our dot, because this is where we want the center of the design to be. So what we need to do is we need to hit the little needle button. So now the module moved a little bit, depending on where it's at, will depend on how much it needs to move. But now it's prompting me to put the hoop on. So now I can put my hoop on. So now we go to the edit screen. So we want to make sure that we're dealing with the center of the design. So currently, if you look at the screen, there is a little crosshair, and this is the beginning of the design. I can tell because it's not directly in the center. So what we can do on the 770, each model is a little bit different, but we're going to go to where the little hoop is on the left-hand side, third button down. It says MIDI. So we want to go, might have to slide here, but towards the bottom, we want to make sure two buttons are selected. We want to make sure the very bottom button is selected, which is the hoop, and the little butterfly in the center with an arrow pointing each direction. We want that button to be highlighted in yellow, but we also want that crosshair button to be highlighted in yellow, which is the second from the bottom. So we click it, and you notice the hoop moved. And you notice our little cursor on the screen also moved. So it moved to the center of our design. So now we can exit out of here. And hopefully you can see, but where our needle is not remotely close to where the dot is. So we need to move the design down. So our stitch width knob moves the design left to right. Our stitch length knob moves the design up and down. You can also move it on the screen, but it's a lot easier if you use the knob, especially for this precision movement. So you can also lower the needle to ensure you're directly in the center or right on top of the dot. So by using our stitch width knob, we're able to move left to right. Stitch length, we're able to move the design down. So now we have the design lined up on our fabric where we want it to be, and go click the little needle button at the bottom right hand corner, and it brings us to our embroidery side of the machine. So at this point, I always recommend holding the tail of your thread, and we have isocord embroidery thread on our multi-spool holder. I always recommend using the multi-spool holder. It just makes life so much easier. But holding that tail of thread, you'll just press and hold down on the green button, and your design will then start. All right, if you have any questions, leave a comment down below. I'll be happy to answer any questions, and stay tuned for more videos. All right, happy sewing.